It's your good pal here, Uncle Bill, one half of those crazy thrillbillies known as DEADPIT.com, and I was thinking about things to do, and one of the things that I've never really done on here, with the exception of maybe one or two times, is have a whole career retrospective. And I was thinking, who could I do it on that hasn't really gotten that much recognition, or that we haven't talked about that much? And the one guy that came to mind was a man that goes by the name of the Cars, with the pudding and the pops and the cars. I'm talking about Don Coscarelli, of course. So this is going to be a new little feature called Direct from Hell, the films of Don Coscarelli. And a lot of people probably know Don Coscarelli best from his horror work, but he did not get his start making horror films. He got his start making really bizarre teen comedies, or in some cases not even teen comedies, but like preteen coming of age films. And the first two that he directed, and to be honest, I've only seen bits and pieces of one of them. I don't even know if the other's available. The first film he had anything to do with was Jim the World's Greatest, and that film came out in 1976. I'm not positive that it's even on DVD. It might be, but I don't know for sure. The one thing I will say about that is that it was the beginning of him using a lot of the actors that he would go on to use in his horror films, and that would eventually become famous for those parts, including Angus Scrimm, who was in Jim the World's Greatest as Jim's father, and Reggie Bannister, who was in it. I think they would go on to also be in his next film, which was a film that is available on DVD, but it's out of print, and it's available through Anchor Bay Entertainment. It's called Kenny and Company. And he would also add A. Michael Baldwin, who would go on to be the star of Phantasm. And this film, I think, is the story of a coming-of-age film from a kid in a suburban neighborhood, miles away from anything that he would do after this. And I don't think he would ever really go back to this style of movie, but this is what he started out with. And 3 years off of Kenny and Company, he would go on to make his most infamous film, a film that really is a genre unto itself, and that is 1979's Phantasm. And I've actually got both versions of Phantasm. I've got the MGM DVD that's out of print, or that was out of print, probably still is out of print, with a lot of special features, but not really anything in the way of documentaries. And then I've also got the Anchor Bay Collection Phantasm DVD with the Phantasmagoria 30-minute documentary and DTS sound, which are pretty much the only things different about these two DVDs. So let's talk a little bit about Phantasm. Like I said, it really almost defies explanation, but I'll give it my best shot. Two brothers, A. Michael Baldwin and Bill Thornberry, they're living together, and their parents are deceased, and they're having kind of a hard time. One of them is having a hard time because he wants to move on with his life, and you know, the brother is constantly hanging around with him, and he just wants his space, but the kid won't let him have it. And one of their friends dies in a cemetery, and under mysterious circumstances they go to his funeral, and at the funeral they meet up with the tall man, who is this caretaker. This the only thing I know how to call him. He's the not the pallbearer, but the guy that's over the funeral home. And he's just a really creepy guy, played by Angus Scrimm. And the younger brother, A. Michael Baldwin, comes to really suspect that there's something wrong with him just because of his demeanor and because of all the weird stuff that has been going on around the cemetery. And so he kind of starts spying on him, and you come to find out that there is something going on at this cemetery. And another one of their friends is an ice cream man played by, his name's Reggie in the film, played by Reggie Bannister, appropriately enough. And there's a whole subplot with, him and Bill Thornberry are really good friends, and they play music and all this stuff. And that's a really neat addition to the film, is to have them playing some of their songs in the film. But really, the rest of the film is just kind of a struggle between A. Michael Baldwin and Angus Scrimm, the tall man, and the kid. I mean, the tall man and the kid are the two big parts of the film. And of course, it introduced the flying sphere and the mausoleum, which was really, really creepy set that a good part of the film takes place in. And the sphere was this, round metal ball that had all these implements like knife things, and a drill that would drill through your head and suck out all your blood. And really, the whole tone of this film is just completely reminiscent of European films from the 70s, like Argento's films and Mario Bava and people like that. It's the colors are all really vivid, and the movie looks like it takes place as like a dream. Nothing really makes sense in the movie. There's a whole backstory with him going to a fortune teller to kind of like a Yoda Jedi type of thing, where he's being taught to not fear, and they never really tell you what the hell you're not supposed to fear, but he's being taught all these things by this fortune teller and her daughter. And it's just it's one of those movies where there's a lot of themes going on, but they never really have time to explain any of them. So just because of that fact that they don't have that much time to explain it just, things come in and out really, really quick, and it doesn't really make sense. But it kind of leaves you off balance throughout the whole movie, which in the case of this movie is a good thing. And a great score. I mean, I kind of interpreted the first part of the score at the beginning of the video on guitar, but the score itself is like fantastic. That's the best way I know how to explain it. It's like it's like a dream. It adds to that atmosphere of the film. So there's not enough good things I can say about Phantasm. Of course, the tall man was perfect in his role. Reggie was perfect in his role. It's got like crappy 70s music being played on acoustic guitar, and ponytails, little annoying kids, Jawas. I don't even know where the hell they come from, but the tall man's turning corpses into fucking Jawas from Star Wars, and it's just great. So just to keep on that theme, I'm not going to go straight through like the films that Coscarelli did, but I'm going to skip right into the next one in that series, which was Phantasm 2, which actually came out in 1988, I believe. Yeah, and this film, I've always loved this film. This is the new re-release from Universal. No special features on it. This film is it's exactly like Alien, or Aliens is to Alien. I mean, this is an action film. It has some horror elements, but in the end, this really is an action film. And it's like a cross-country journey buddy film, with A. Michael Baldwin's character being replaced by, I think the guy's name is James LaGrosse. And for reasons that I think the studio wanted a name, and I'm guessing James LaGrosse was a name at that time. He's pretty much nobody's ever heard of him now, but they replaced him, and they kept Reggie, and they kept the tall man, and this was the biggest budgeted Phantasm movie by far. And that's probably explains why there were so many action set pieces in it. So we're going to continue talking about that in the next video.